Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Two Chicks and a Horror Flick. I am Felicia Connor.
And I'm Tawny Ray.
And we are so excited to be talking with you today about scary stories to tell in the dark.
Yes.
I don't know about you, Tawny. Well, I do know about you because we talk all the time. I loved these books. I have these books and I've passed them down to my daughters who also love these books. So when we were going to talk, this was one movie on our list of like October movies I 100% wanted to see. Like good, bad, ugly. I wanted to see it because I was so in love with the books as a kid.
I'm so glad then that we're kicking it off with this movie. Like we're
Yeah.
kicking off our October flick or treat with this movie. And I'm fucking here for it. So
Yes.
What are you drinking over there?
So what I'm drinking, I'm getting boring, I think, but I'm having a dirty martini with blue cheese stuffed olives. People are going to be like, don't even ask Felicia anymore. Well, you know what? I don't think they'll want to ask you either, because what are you drinking, Tawny?
I know, I'm drinking the same shit as always. Whiskey. That's it. That's all I got.
At least I think a couple episodes ago I was having not a Manhattan,
That's true.
but an old-fashioned.
Old-fashioned?
Yeah. But I don't know. That's my jam. Like, I love dirty martinis. That's a James Bond thing, by the way. Shaken, not stirred. Thanks.
Right.
But I love blue cheese stuffed olives, and I have an excessive amount of them. I have 6. I also love Cosmos, but the Cosmo, I like making them from scratch versus Cosmo Mix because Cosmo Mix is really, really sweet.
Yeah.
And I don't really like that. But anyway, I'm not drinking a Cosmo, so whatever.
You know what I like? Is fucking lemon drops. I love lemon stuff. We've never talked about that before, but like lemon shit is my favorite. It's my favorite type of dessert. I like lemony stuff. So like if I'm really like having a moment where I'm like, oh, I want to drink, like I'll get a lemon drop and it's like my favorite.
Lemon drop. That's good. That's good. I like that. That's fun.
I also want to just say, I know this is, I'm sorry, I'm interrupting you probably from whatever you were just about to say, but because this is Flick or Treat and I was like so majorly about like fall vibes and like Halloween vibes, I just feel like I need to tell you people, if you're in for this kind of stuff, we're probably not going to like talk about this because it's a series, but you need to be watching Over the Garden Wall. Have you seen or heard about this, Felicia?
No, I haven't.
It's a cartoon. Okay, it's like an animated series that I think aired on Cartoon Network. It's very short. I think it's like 6 episodes, and I believe it's on Hulu if you have it. And it is so fucking good. This is like not my shit at all. Like I don't love family stuff. I don't love animated stuff. It's not really my jam. But Over the Garden Wall is so beautifully autumnal and creepy. It's like this nice like balance of like creepy and wholesome. There's even singing in it. And you know I hate a musical. You know I hate them. But this show is so fucking good. So I just wanted to say, if you're looking for more stuff like that, in addition to our movies that we're going to watch this month, obviously watch Over the Garden Wall.
Love it. Over the Garden Wall. Awesome. I love it.
Yeah.
You know, it was really exciting when I logged into Hulu and saw it real big Halloween. It took up the whole screen, and because I'm so horror obsessed, my whole family went, ooh. I posted on our social media about it, but that's really fun. It's just so much fun. I love on Instagram, all the horror community are just like all these different things about October 1st and Halloween and October. It's a lot of fun. I love it. It's just, fall is my favorite time of the year, 100%. I love it, and I can't wait.
Me too. # basic bitch. You know what? I have Uggs. Okay?
I wear them too. I have Uggs too. Those gray knitted ones is what I got.
Oh, hell yeah. I got some gray ones too, but they're not the knitted ones. They're just like the regular. But you know what? Mine have the bows on the back. Okay? Because I love bows.
I love bows.
That's mine. Those are mine. And I wear them I wear them all throughout the summer and everything because they're just like comfortable. They're the only shoes to fit my insoles. Okay? So if I'm trying to be comfortable, if my feet are healthy, I'm wearing those Uggs.
I just think of these Uggs and it makes me feel cozy. And it makes me think
Yes.
like things are chilly. And that's meaningful, especially here because I live in Arizona.
Yeah.
And today it was 105.
Oh
So
my God.
when I think of the ability to wear Uggs, it's like a whole new level.
That makes sense. That makes total
Yeah.
sense to me. Because I agree and I feel the opposite. Like everywhere I've lived has been like primarily cold. And so when I think about like the idea of wearing like a romper, like a shorts romper, I'm like, oh, it's so specific. It's like summertime vibes. Like, and I love that also for different reasons. But fall is my favorite season, of course, because,
Oh, I love the fall. I love it.
yeah.
I want to show you, I got a new shirt.
Okay.
So I'm wearing a new shirt.
Show me. Okay, I thought it was the Beatles. Oh shit. Okay, we got, for the people not watching, we got Michael Myers, Freddy Krueger, Jason, and Pennywise walking across the crosswalk as if they are Beatles.
Yes.
The Beatles.
Yes.
That's great.
I love it. I'm excited. I've been really, my daughter, so I got some posters I have being made to decorate behind me, and my daughter, I think I mentioned it actually on the last episode, or maybe not. Me and Tawny talk so much, I don't even know when we talk about this, but I got this from Michael's, this wooden, sorry. Just for everybody watching YouTube, it wasn't a ghost. It was my TT. This is my
Hi.
TT. She came in. Just so everyone who was watching us on YouTube, and I paused and looked like probably terrified.
That was frightening.
Okay, this is what I have to do all the time. I'm doing something, and all of a sudden I look, and there is a tiny little child staring at me. So sometimes it's scary. She's really excited for Coraline, by the way. She goes all the time when we're about to record. 2 chicks and a little chick. Like all the time. But anyway, what? what was I even talking about?
You were talking about the diorama behind you.
Oh yeah. My daughter is really crafty. It's insane. Like my oldest one is very, very artistic, and she has this thing, like she's really into anime, and is it called mag? I don't know.
Manga.
But anyways, manga. She's really into all of that stuff. And on the back of like this glass, it'll look like a mess. And when you turn it over, it's like all of those cartoon characters. It's beautiful. And she takes like she bedazzles like these crystal skulls. She's just very creative. So, anyways, we were at Michael's, and I got this wood castle that opens, and there's all these rooms. So if you're on our Instagram, you'd see that she also bought me as a present the 13 Spooky Days with all the little Funko characters. She's going to decorate all those rooms in the castle like the different things, like The Shining or Freddy.
So cute.
And then I'm going to put it right behind me, and I'm so excited. I don't even know why I'm telling you that. Oh yeah, because my shirt and this, like trying to get into the vibe.
Yeah, the ambiance, if you will.
Yes, yes.
I also feel the need to tell you, and I'm sorry, this is the last thing I'll say before we get started, unless you have other things. No. But I just feel the need to update everybody. After watching Host, our last episode, I made Jade watch Host again. So I watched it again with Jade the next day. Or the next night. I think it was at night that we watched this. And he jumped a lot. He was scared. He liked it. And then I was like, you know what? Listen, it gave me anxiety again. I gotta watch an episode of Sister Sister, okay? Because that's what I watched when I was middle school to high school. It gives me nice nostalgia, makes me feel safe and comfortable, like I'm a child again. So I watched an episode of that while he went to bed. And then I like got shit together and I went to bed and I walked around the corner, and straight up.
Oh yeah.
Jade had
I love him so much more just because of this.
I'm trying to figure out how to like best explain this.
Oh.
He took like articles of his clothing and put it together as if it was a like mannequin, and like hung it up in our room on the vent that blows like, our air into the room, which happens to be like almost pretty much directly in front of your face as you walk in the room and like over our bed. It scared the living shit out of me I have not been like scare pranked like this in so fucking long. So it was so funny because obviously he took a nod from that movie because it's like there's a lot of hanging people.
Yeah.
Sorry, spoilers. It's
We
not really
spoiled that
spoilers
shit.
though.
We
Even
spoiled
if
that shit already.
not really though, like if you haven't seen the movie still, like it's not a big
Hanging
deal.
people. Yeah, yeah.
There yeah, you realize in the first like 20 minutes there's like something to do with someone hanging, so you see their feet, which is I feel like a pretty common, horror movie trope. So I fucking walked into the room, didn't and I on the in the process of turning on I don't even think I told you about what my reaction was, Felicia, did I?
She sent me the picture. No, you just sent me the picture, and I went,
Okay.
"Oh shit!" And I showed my husband. That was
So
great.
scared. I didn't even see it until I was like almost in the room. So I was like walking in the room and I was turning on the light switch. And literally this is what I did, you guys. Like a fucking idiot. This is what I did. I went, stop. Yeah, that's gonna do it. That's gonna save my ass. And like I think we talked about this before, but if you haven't heard those episodes, I'm not a fighter. I'm a flighter, or like 9 times out of 10 actually, I'm a freezer. I freeze up. And so like I just and I think that's part of the reason why I don't jump physically when I watch stuff is cuz I just freeze. So like I fucking, and it all happened so fast, dude, cuz Jade was like I
Stop.
fucking stop. What? Why would I say that? Jade was like, I went back and forth because I thought this was so dark. Like, he was like, I actually was afraid that you were going to think I hung myself in our bedroom. And he was like, and he's right.
No.
He's right. For a half of a second, I did think, because that's the only conclusion I could come to, because he's the
I
only
guess
other human being.
you wouldn't think immediately, oh, it's a ghost.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, that's horrible.
Exactly. So he's right. For like a half a second, I was like,
Oh, that's horrible.
but it was really fast, right? Like I was just like, oh, is that? But he felt so fucking bad about it that as soon as he saw me starting to react, he was like, "Did I scare you?" Like he was like already feeling so bad. So like it all happened within the span of like 30, like a half of a second. Like literally, I was just like, "Oh no, is he dead?" Like, and I was like, clicked on the lights, and I was all, "Stop." And he was like, "Did I scare you?"
I
And
showed my husband the picture you sent me, and my preface was, I think you would really love Tawny and Jade. Look at what Jade did to Tawny.
and
I
what
wonder what. Yeah, so
what was his reaction to that?
he loved it. Oh, well, I gave him a background of why it was so meaningful too, because of the hanging and host. But you've seen me. My kids have hidden when we're about to record. My whole family, minus my husband, no one really tries to scare him. He's not easily scared. But all of us, when you scare us, we curse.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that is. Like all of us, even we get angry. We get so angry.
Yeah.
And then we'll laugh. We get angry and then we laugh. That's what happens.
Yeah, I laughed for the next, like, after I had a heart attack, right? Like, and after I almost died of my heart attack, I laughed for the next, like, 45 minutes. Like, I was, like, dying. And Jade just kept being like, because again, he hasn't really, like, ever scared me like this. Like, he was like, I'm so glad you're laughing. He was like, I'm so
That's
glad
so
you think
good.
this is funny. Because he didn't know. He was like, I mean, we've been together a long time. We've been together 9 years. Like 9.5, probably closer to, and he just never gets me like this. And it was so funny after it was scary that I was just like, okay, don't you listen. I was like, you're not allowed to get me like this again for another 6 years or something. But then when you do, you need to record it because I need to know what it was like
Yes.
for me to like be scared about it because I thought that was
should
so
have recorded
stupid.
it. And you should have posted that honestly on our Instagram.
It would have
The
been
two
funny.
pictures. Yeah. So next time.
I'm
But
still
there's not
considering
gonna be
it.
a next.
It's just
you should.
It's my very messy room. That's all.
Oh. I look at the. Well, think about it. Think about it. I thought it was great.
Okay.
That is so much fun. Oh my gosh. Okay. So, happy, happy, happy October. And
Yay!
happy Flick or Treat. We are so excited for this month. We are truly, truly excited and just, want to dive right in and celebrate this absolutely beautiful, spectacular month. I'm being all like emotional about how much I love this month. So, happy Flick or Treat. We mentioned, we're talking about scary stories. Scary stories to tell in the dark. Sorry, scary stories to tell in the dark. It's based on the book, so it's based on the children's series books by the same name by Alvin Schwartz. Okay, the screenplay for this movie was adapted by Dan Hageman. Oh gosh, sorry, Dan. And Kevin Hageman. Brothers. Sorry, brothers or relatives. They might not be brothers, they might be relatives. From a screen story by producer Guillermo del Toro. That's pretty cool. As well as Patrick Melton and Marcus Dunstan. That's pretty cool. I don't know who they are, but okay. I want to get excited about them. I felt bad because I was all excited about Del Toro, and then I'm like, well, I want to be excited about them too, but okay. But good job, guys. Okay. So it was directed by, so it was a 2019 horror film directed by André. His last name, the O has like a slash through it, is Øvredal.
No idea.
Okay, so I apologize, but there's literally there's a slash through the O. Is that a different sound? I don't know. I don't remember if I even learned that. So, anyways, André, though, he did that. And
what else has he done? Because I feel like, did you look any of that up?
So, other things that he has done is Troll Hunter.
Oh, God, I love that movie. Okay, I thought there was a reason why I was like, I love this person.
And guess what else? The Autopsy of Jane Doe. God,
okay.
Why can't I even talk today? The Autopsy of Jane Doe. Some other items were Tunnelin, and Mortal and The Long Walk. I'm not familiar with those. Okay, I didn't know if you were. So, yeah, but you loved Troll Hunter. You were super excited about that.
Yes.
So that's the guy.
Okay, cool.
So, yeah. Excited to talk about this. Like we mentioned, we loved the book. So Tawny. Oh no! I'm sorry. I need to tell you I literally have one sentence.
Synopsis.
I read a lot of synopsises, and I was like, some of them were really long, and some of them. So here we go. This is from imdb.com. On Halloween 1968, Stella and her two friends meet a mysterious drifter, Ramon, and uncover a sinister notebook of stories. There's so much more than that, but
yes,
those are the people, and that's kind of what happens. Right, that's the setup. So, yeah, some of the other things they were I'm like 4 sentences. Okay, so we're going to talk about all that business anyways. So, Tawny, I would like to hear what you thought of this movie.
Spoilers ahead. If you don't want this movie spoiled for you, turn back now. If you don't mind, that's okay. Keep going.
I will never remember to say that. Ever.
That's okay. You know what? I got you on it, because I'm invested in spoilers. Your friend posted today. He was like, "Please don't spoil this thing for me." And I was like, "Listen, I wouldn't fucking dare. I would not dare to spoil it. Like, I hope to God we haven't spoiled other things for people." Like, sometimes we talk about series that we're watching in front of whatever actual episode.
Ooh,
so we should be extra careful about that we don't spoil.
When I'm making the audio clips, I try to pick something that would give a vibe of our conversation but doesn't spoil.
Right.
So I do try to think of that, but you're right. All the pre-conversation we have, I don't... that's a good point.
Yeah. But I think we don't. I don't think we give major things away. So, but we should be careful not to, because I hate having shit spoiled for me. I hate it. I'm just an anti-spoiler person. But anyway, if you're not, sorry, what were you gonna say, Felicia?
No, I was gonna agree. My middle daughter and her girlfriend, they'll watch stuff together all the time. So I'll be like, okay, tonight we're watching Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, or or Sleepy Hollow, or whatever it is that we're going to be watching. And if I see, oh, we saw that, I will immediately go, don't say anything.
Yeah.
Like, don't say how you felt about it, because that will, jade it for me.
Yeah.
No offense, Jade, but that will, or don't tell me what you thought. Don't tell me what happened. Don't tell me. And they'll be like, oh, no, but, and I'm like, no, 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 no.
Don't do it. Don't.
Yeah.
I will also be like, stop. Don't
Yeah.
fucking, don't do it.
Okay, Tawny,
Sorry.
I want you to do it, though. We are spoiler alerting the hell out of this movie. So
Now I'm going to do it.
now she can do it, because that's what we do. On our episodes, we spoil the shit out of movies. Maybe that should be our tagline. But we spoil the shit out of horror movies. So if you haven't seen it, go watch it, come back.
Yes. And if not, you had ample time.
Yeah, because we talked about spoiling for a long time, so.
For a long time. I was mixed on this movie. I don't know. There's a lot of good, and there's like a handful of bad. But honestly, watching it a second time, I feel like there was less bad. I actually went and saw this in theaters last year with Jade and our friends, Paige and Trevor, in the theater. And for whatever reason, that night they had the sound up like times 10. So it was like the loudest fucking movie I've ever seen in my life in action, in real life, like in person. And I have some things that I don't like, but like I do like that this movie feels very autumnal. I like that it feels very Halloween, right? There's like a Halloween vibe. It's super like creepy. I feel like it's definitely it's gonna be the movie that scared the shit out of the next generation of people that watched it at the right time. But also I cannot help but be such a fucking fan of the original stories and the original books that I can't help but have a little bit of a problem with some of the stuff. So it's mixed. It's hit or miss for me.
You and I, once again, are on very much the same page.
Okay.
There were elements I liked. There wasn't any, like, well, maybe when we start talking, they'll be uncovered, like elements that I was like, I did not like this. All I know is, maybe because the book, I love books. I've mentioned before, like, I'm a Stephen King fan, and so if I'm reading a book and it just really does it for me, and I watch the movie, and it's almost like the movie is set up for failure. Like, it really has to exceed expectations. Those stories in those books, because there was multiple, terrified me. And so I wanted to be really scared, and I wasn't really scared, but there was some really good stuff. Yeah, I'm on the same page. Like, I didn't hate it. I thought there were some really good elements. I liked several pieces of it, and we're going to talk about everything we liked. But it definitely didn't reach the level of how much those books scared me.
Totally. And I think, like, to be fair, part of the reason for that is I have always felt like my imagination is far scarier than whatever anybody can put on screen or in a book. Or like in a book is like even better, right? Because you're not really like seeing it. You're like creating it in your head. And so exactly to your point, you're reading these books, and I brought them. So you're reading these books, and obviously the illustrations of this book are terrifying. So actually, in a way, the illustrations lend themselves to be even scarier than what you could probably come up with in your head as a kid. But it's so much scarier than seeing it actually put together. But like, I feel like they did a good job. Like, for what they had, you know?
Yeah. No, I definitely agree. I feel like, yeah, I do. I feel like they did a good job. So let's talk about, like, some of your favorite moments, our favorite moments from the movie, and then obviously some of the stuff that we thought they could have done better, which is really hard. There is one thing. Maybe we start with that if I can.
Yeah,
can I
go
tell?
for it.
I really loved, I love insane asylums, and I loved the story about Sarah. I loved it. Like, if the whole movie was maybe just about her, and there wasn't those other modern day kids, or maybe the modern day kids start telling the story and then it moves into that. I don't know. I think that's terrifying. The thought of them taking this girl and locking her and her communicating with other kids out in the world, and like she's in an insane asylum. I'm a big, okay, this is gonna sound weird, a big fan of insane asylum. I'm not a fan of insane asylums. Like, I like scary insane asylum stuff. Like, I love
Yeah,
Ratchet, like
me
that.
too.
I think it's just so terrifying to think that other people could have control of you and could judge if you're insane or not. Like, that whole thing is terrifying to me. So I loved that story. That could have been a movie,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
So that's my first initial, like, when we were talking about what could they have done better. I don't know, maybe we could have just had a movie about that. But maybe I loved the spider scene. I hate spiders.
Oh yeah.
That was disgusting and terrifying. And so when the spider was in her face, and we were talking about it as she's pushing, like,
Ooh.
and they're like, "Oh my God, stop pushing it!" And I'm like, I would. Like, I would probably push it until it got to a point where I was like, "Oh shit, I'm like, this spider bit me and I'm about to lose my face." I would go to the doctor, right? I
Yeah.
wouldn't keep pushing it. But then the spider came out, and then when the spider leg came out of her cheek and she's pulling it, everyone's like, "Stop it." And I'm like, I would pull it. I would try to pull that shit out. Are you kidding me? There's something coming out of
That's
my
an
face.
ingrown hair, y'all.
Yeah.
That's an ingrown hair. Listen,
Yes.
little fun fact about me. I really enjoy Dr. Pimple Popper videos, okay? I would for sure be pulling out that ingrown
Yes.
hair.
Now, when half of my face is swollen, I would go to the doctor because I
Yeah,
would
of
think
course.
I was. But let's say I didn't, and I'm trying to pop it, and then a hair, I would try to pull that out. It was That was so gross.
Yeah.
I literally had a gag reflex when the
Okay.
guy had the toe in his mouth, and he went crunch, and then took this toe out. I had a gag reflex with
Okay.
that. So
First
that's,
time, right? First time?
yeah, first time gag reflex watching a movie.
Okay.
So that was really good. I
Yeah.
can't even pinpoint really what didn't fully do it for me, because there was some good moments. I like the idea of the scarecrow kid too. That's pretty crazy. That
Yeah.
woman, that fat woman. I'm rambling. I'm sorry. Last thing, the really big woman with that creepy face. I
Yeah.
loved her. Like,
With the long dark hair.
she was so creepy. And then she just hugged him, and then he absorbed into her. Okay. Like, I don't know what I was expecting. She was a creepy character. But then I don't know. I don't know. I want to hear, what do you have to say?
I might be able to fill in some gaps
Yeah.
here
Yeah, I
about
feel.
why you didn't like it. And but tell me as I talk if
Yeah.
that's not at all. But I feel like one of my issues with this movie is that there are some very specific things that go along with these stories that they plucked from the book
Mm-hmm.
that sort of didn't get incorporated, and that's like sad. Like, I'll start with the first one and my favorite. The story of Harold is probably my
Mm.
favorite story of the entire series, and it is so scary. Like, I'm getting chills just thinking about it. It scared the shit out of me. And the story of Harold in the books is like they've got this scarecrow that starts to like jump. It's like a slow burn. Like, it's like it starts to like move around a little bit, and then he starts to get up and walk around,
Mm-hmm.
and they're like freaked the fuck out, and then he starts to get up on the roof and walk around, and they're like, what the fuck, that's scary, whatever, we're gonna leave, right? It's like two brothers, I think, like, we're gonna peace out. So they leave, but they get like a little ways away, and they're like, oh shit, we forgot our milking stool. And in the story, even, it's like, oh, milking stools are expensive, like somebody has to go back for it, so they draw straws and somebody has to go back for it, one of the brothers. And the other brother waits and watches and sees Harold stretching out a piece of skin to dry on the roof of this like little hut they were staying in. And that's how you know he fucking died. Like, that is some morbid ass shit. Like, I was like so
Yeah.
creeped out by that as a kid. And so, like, I love Harold and he's so scary. And the idea that, like, they just sort of watered him down to this, like, he's just a scarecrow that turns somebody else into a scarecrow. Like, I feel like they kind of did that with each of the, like, monsters, quote unquote monsters or stories.
They
But
watered him down.
yeah,
That's a really good point. Like, it's almost like they could have had Jurassic Park has like how many movies? Dude, we own them all. We've seen them all. 6. Like, they could have done maybe a movie around each
yeah,
of not all of the scary stories, but some of the main prominent scary stories in those books and done a movie completely around that.
totally. There's so much content, I think, is like part of the thing. The other thing is that, and let me just say this, I feel like they did this well. It's very difficult to take a series of books that in each one of the books is like a series of stories, right? Like, how do you tie that shit together?
Yeah.
It's very difficult. And I had forgotten the first time we watched this movie, I remember being like, I remember being very disappointed when I left the theater. And so, like, when I was going to watch it again for our podcast, I was sort of like, I was talking to Jade and I was like, oh, yeah, do you remember the whole, like, girl with the stories? Like, I was like, fucking boo. Like, I was like, oh, man, I have to watch that again. But actually, watching it a second time, I was like, they could have just taken, like, a very fucking shallow ass surface level shit and just slapped it on this movie and called it good. They could have done that to be able to
Hmm.
tie through all the stories. But the actual story of like Sarah Bellows and like how she was in an insane oh god, I can't say this. In an insane asylum.
It's a lot of A's.
It is. But it was actually her family's doing and they were like just trying to
Mm.
pin somebody for it. Like, it's so fucking like deep actually. Like, they did not have to do that, right? Like, I just
Yeah.
feel like anybody else would have come up with some bullshit, slapped it on this movie and called it good. These people fucking went in. They went in hard on that and they were like, "No, we have to have a whole fucking like lore about this town and the people that were in it and why this happened." Like, I appreciate that. Even though I don't know, maybe there was a better way to go about it, but I can't be mad at the fact that they really fucking tried. You know what I mean? Like, they really tried to
Yeah.
give it their all to tie it all in. And
I
so
totally
I get that.
agree. I was really excited. Like, I felt that excitement of if I lived in that town, I wouldn't have gone at night, but I most definitely would have went into that house and
Yeah.
looked around. And if I would have found a secret door that led to the actual room where that chick was in, holy shit. That would have been amazing. And I would have taken all of her books. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Handwritten books by her in all of them. I would have taken them all. And my daughter was like, "Mom, you would have damned us all. All of us would have been dead because of you." And I would have been,
Mom,
"Yeah." It would have been me. I would have screwed everybody up because I would have taken all those books. There's no way I would have left that stuff down there. They were going to destroy the house. I mean,
yeah.
it was just so cool. And when they found that old weird, I've never seen that wax recording
Yeah.
device ever, ever. And they could hear her voice, like, and those old written, um, you know, documents from when she was in the asylum about her. Dude, I loved all of that stuff. And I could really feel like I would be really excited to be going through a house like that and finding, and you actually find that stuff. So that was really cool. I thought all the little actors did good. And when I say little actors, I don't mean that derogatory. They were young.
Yeah.
All the teen actors, I thought they did good. The one boy, oh shoot, here, let me tell you who the actors were. So Stella, who's the main girl, I liked her name was Zoe Coletti. And then
Okay.
Ramon, who plays the young man who comes into town, is trying to dodge the draft because his brother had died in Vietnam. So this all takes place in the 60s, like in 1968. He comes into town. That's Michael Garza. Augie, which is August, one of the friends. So Zoe and August and Chuck are all like best friends. He's played by Gabriel Rush. And then Chuck is played by Austin Zahar. And then Ruthie is Chuck's sister with the spiders come out of her face. Right. And that's Natalie Ganzorn. And I have to say, that obnoxious, and because I say that, that means he did a good job. Tommy Milner, that football player, was Austin Abrams. So obviously Austin did a really good job. Because,
he did do a good job.
Couldn't stand him.
I couldn't stand him, and also he seemed like a total fucking psychopath. Like,
I told my kids, there's like in movies often, and then make a joke about real life. And when I say this, like men, they're either nerds or date rapers. And it's obviously not true.
Right.
There's obviously in between. But if you think about it, all the shows we watch and stuff like that, right? They're like the guys that are gonna put roofies in your drink, or they're the nerds that no one likes and then they fall in love with, right?
Okay, yeah.
So when we were watching this, all of the kids go, date raper for that guy, Tommy Milner. Yes, that would be who he is.
He was so fucking sweaty all the time. It was so gross.
Was he just drunk all the time? Why was he? Okay, first of all, I couldn't understand anything he was saying, which irritated me a little bit.
Me too.
He was always like, like, okay, if you're going to be drunk, can I at least understand what you're saying? Am I literally going to have to turn on closed captioning
I had to
for
turn him
one
on.
Damn character? Yes, so did I.
I had to turn him on. Yes.
That was irritating. I wanted to, and they don't have him listed here, and it's a bummer. I'm going to look him up because I really do love this guy. Stella's dad.
Oh, God. Hank.
Stella's dad. Hey, Hank. He played Hank in Breaking Bad. Yes. And so while we talk, I'm going to definitely have to look him up because he is amazing. But he played Stella's dad, and I thought he did a great job too.
Me too. He was so fucking
I love him. Dean Norris.
Yeah.
Norris. Shout out to Dean Norris because I love him. And if I see him in a movie, I'm like, oh shit, I love this.
He was such a sympathetic character. I mean, I think
I love him.
I think so. I think the kids were too, but like for whatever reason, like I think it's just because like I'm an adult now. Like I'm probably closer to like, well, maybe that's not true. But I totally got where he was coming from. Like he was such a fucking like great dad. Like he really gave a shit about her. And I was just like, I on the second rewatch of this movie, I was like, oh shit, does he die? Oh God, I hope he doesn't die. Please don't kill him. Like I didn't remember because I was like, it's just been a while. But I was like, please God, he's so good. Please don't take him. Don't take Hank.
He was like my favorite. I love him. I love
him.
He's my favorite. I love him in like everything I see. So that was him. Sorry, I got lost in my thoughts because we just went really into the cast. I thought they did a good job. I thought there was a couple of lines, which isn't Stella's fault, where like she said some things and I should have written it down where you're kind of like, oh, okay.
I got one for you before I forget. When she's locked in the jail cell and she's all, somebody hear me. I was like, what the fuck, bitch? Are you in the 1600s? Somebody hear me. Like, that's not what you would fucking, like, call out if you're about to die. Somebody hear me. I just was like, what the fuck? Okay, sorry. I'm sure I'll think of more examples as we go, but I didn't want to forget that one.
No, I love that. There were some things, and obviously, again, when I'm looking at movies, often I'll think it probably takes a certain level of actor, and I don't mean skill. I mean fame or whatever. Confidence to come in and say, you know what? I'm not going to say this.
Yeah.
I'm going to switch it up because this is lame. And so often when I'm watching a movie, I'll be like, oh my gosh, I'll think of, this actor. I think this happened to me a lot with the Poughkeepsie tapes, and we won't get into it. But where they would say stuff, and I'd be like, okay, we will. Just one thing. When the cop was like, yeah, his innards were like Christmas lights, you know, and it's so stupid. Shut up. You wouldn't say that. But if that was the line he was given and you're the actor, you're going to say the line and you're going to try to make it as believable as possible, unless maybe you're Johnny Depp and you come in and you're like, I'm not fucking saying that. Like, I'm going
Right.
to say it a different way. So there were some of those moments that even my kids were like, are you kidding me? If I was in this situation and my friend said that, I'd smack him in the face.
Totally, 100%. There were some issues with the script. Like, scripting wise, there were like moments where I was just like, oh fucking K with this. Like, one of them was, he was like, what did he say? He was like, it's the poo-da-ta when he throws the like bag of shit. I'm just like, fucking kill me with this. That's the poo-da-ta. And also, like, okay, that one even I can excuse because it's like supposed to be funny, right? Like, they're obviously fucking with this guy. Later on in the movie, when shit gets real, and she's like freaking out, she's crying, she's like, "You don't read the book. The book reads you."
Okay, I have it right in front of me. I found it in my notes.
Okay,
That
tell
was
me.
the line. No,
Okay.
that was the line. I love you. That was the line where we were quiet, and then my daughter went, if my friend said that when this shit was happening, I would have smacked her. You don't read the book. The book reads you. What the fuck are you talking about? Our friends are missing. Like, what?
Just who the fuck? Yeah, that was
And
obviously.
it's not her fault. It's obviously a line she was trying to.
She did her best. She did her best.
That was so stupid.
The book reads you. It's just like, what kind of other contrived shit could you come up with in that very specific moment? It was so.
So, Chuck, right? Chuck was his name. I want to make sure. Yeah, Chuck. I didn't like him in the beginning. I was like, ugh. He actually made me think, and I said this to my daughters. No offense to all of our wonderful male listeners.
Yes.
I said, I am so glad I didn't have any sons. Like, he was that character that I was like, oh my gosh. But then I actually really grew to like him and love him. And in that particular scene, when she was saying that, she's crying and she's saying, you know, Augie is gone. And he's like, what do you mean gone? And she's like, he's gone. The book, blah, all of that stuff. And he's like, we need to call the police. We need to go to the police. And they're like, we can't go to the police. Can you imagine? I'm going to go to jail. They're not going to believe us. I started to lean more towards him because I was like, yeah, we are kids. Our friends are missing. It's totally unbelievable. But we need to throw that book down in front of somebody and say, just keep us for 24 hours and start the book. I don't know. But like, we can't handle this shit. Yeah. And then as it grew and he saw... So when they were in the house and he was hiding in the wardrobe and he opened the wardrobe and there was a whole different scene, I loved his reaction to that. And I loved how he kept hanging on to it. And he looked very terrified by it. And so I started to love him.
I agree totally. And again, even the second time watching it, I started the movie and I was like, I fucking hate this kid. God, I hate him. He just says the stupidest shit. But you know what? They're fucking teenagers. Like, I do have to step back and say, like, what is it like to be teenagers and have teenager-ass friends? Like, they're immature sometimes. You know, to give a little bit of leeway here, he was a good character, and you do, like, halfway through the movie, you start to really care for him. And I think part of what it was for me is how much he actually gives a shit about his sister. He, like, really cared about her.
He really cared about Ruthie, yeah.
And so it really, like, that part caught me too.
Yeah, I loved that. Yeah, I totally agree. There was some good. So if we talk about each of the characters, right, or the scary story characters, loved Harold. Couldn't wait for Harold to kill that football player kid. Nothing about football. Tommy. Tommy was just a jerk and he played football. I couldn't wait for him to kill Tommy. He was just so mean to Harold, who's just a scarecrow, but the way he just beat the crap out of him all the time. I was like, I can't wait for this scarecrow to come alive and get this kid.
Yeah. Give him his.
I couldn't wait, man. I do like, I have to say, that when they defeated the curse, or I don't know, whatever you would call it, like they got Sarah to stop writing these stories and killing all of the kids.
Yeah.
They didn't bring the other kids back.
Me too.
I thought that was that was good.
It was like there were actual stakes, right,
Yeah.
in this movie. You're like, oh
Yeah.
shit, they're dead. Like, and at the very, very end, right, they're like, oh, we're never going to quit looking for them, which sets it up for a great sequel where they can go and maybe bring them back. Like, I liked that. But yeah, it did feel final. Like, I was expecting, once they went missing, I was expecting them to pop back up immediately, but they didn't.
They didn't.
And that was scary.
Yeah, I thought that was really good that they did that. So for start, the very first one to go, so we talked about Harold, and yeah, the scary story, like, he only got a very small portion, and he wasn't, I have to say, he was more scary on the stake in the field than
he
when
was
he came
moving.
alive. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I agree. I thought once, Tommy was like coughing up all of that hay and he became a scarecrow, I thought that was cool, but it was very fast and then it was done. Right?
Yeah. And it just wasn't like true to the story. Like, it was like, okay, maybe it's like a little scary, but like, Harold was the meaty one. Like, you should have saved him till last, I think.
Yeah.
Like,
you know what story I remember the most? Which
Tell me.
Wasn't even in this and it wouldn't have made sense. The story I remember the most is, which I'm surprised you don't think of this one because of your fears of being napped, was the one with the headlights.
Oh, God, yes. Yep. I love that one.
Terrified me.
High beams. High beams is what it's called.
Props to you for remembering that name too. High beams. I think of it all the time. Like, throughout my life, I would think about it. I still, to this day, when I get into the car, so sorry, killers, I look in my back seat. I do.
Getting me.
Even if my car's in my driveway, I glance in the back because of that story. That's the number one. But maybe that can be its own total standalone serial killer in the backseat story. I don't know.
You know which one? Well, I have a handful that scare the shit out of me from the books, but like the other one that scares me about being like napped, and like, I don't know if we've talked about this, but one of my major fears is like having people invade my house. Like, so the call is coming from inside the house story.
Yes. That is so scary. That's my second one. I just got chills. Yes.
Okay.
The calls from coming inside the house. Yes. Oh my God. Because we haven't talked about it before on this podcast, but just like you said about someone being, one of my fears is someone being in the house that I don't know it as well.
Yes. They're like living in the house.
Coming in when I'm not here and then they're here and I don't know it. Yeah, that's terrifying. Those two are the ones that stand out the most to me in those scary stories.
You know what other one stands out to me too that scares the shit out of me even today? And I think I've talked about this on this podcast before. I don't remember the name of the story. I'll have to look through and see if I can find it. But it's like this, it's long. It's a long story in the book. And it's like this family thinks that they're haunted. They think they're like, they've got a poltergeist or maybe they're possessed or whatever. And they have these people come in. And at the very end of the story, it's like, oh no, you weren't haunted. You just thought you were so fucking haunted that you created this shit to happen.
Ooh,
that is probably one of my deepest fears. Like, is that I'm actually going to like create a self-fulfilling prophecy because I'm like generating so much like fear and anxiety about something that it's gonna like I'm gonna create it. It's not actually there, but I'm going to create it. That's like one of my deepest fears because there's like no way to like control that. It's just you're scared and it's happening. I'm going to have to.
No, you know what? I think that's one of my deepest fears too, but just with a twist. But it's the same fear of losing my mind.
Yeah.
Not having control of my mind is one of my biggest fears. So as far as like some interesting tidbits of the movie, there's all of these different kind of goofs. But instead of going through all of them, It's all around the stuff in the movie wouldn't have really been in the 60s. So, for example, the walkie
Oh.
talkies they use weren't models that were in the 60s. The cars weren't from the 60s. Um, Even to the point where in the movie where they're driving beside a train, the car carriers weren't from the 60s. So there was a lot of that as far as goofs, things that wouldn't have been in the 60s, things they said, dialogue they've had, the type of dialogue they had wouldn't have taken place in the 60s. So there's a lot of different things like that. But
I wondered about that as I was watching it the second time. I was like, some of this feels like not. It doesn't feel right. You know what I mean? Like every
yeah,
once in a while, you're like, oh shit, we're in the 60s. And then you're like, maybe not, you know?
yeah, I felt like they opened very much with that, with kind of like the football players. But actually, when I did that just now, you can't see me if you're listening, with the hair, that was one of the things, is the hairstyles on the men weren't from the 60s. But see, I always think of it as kind of like a James Dean sort of, like Tommy
Okay.
Milner with his blonde hair. But yeah, even those, they wouldn't have been from 1968 was when that was supposed to be taking place. And it actually says this is especially true of the football players. But see, specifically Tommy Milner, I thought of James Dean and that hair. So I don't know, but there was a lot of stuff like that. Some like kind of interesting, cute little things. Ruth, so is Chuck's sister. When she's preparing for a date, if you remember, her entire head is covered in curlers. All of her hair is in curlers. But when she's on a date with that prick, Tommy, her hair is straight. It's a little thing.
Okay.
It's just a little thing. Also, I don't know who noticed this, but factual errors. On all the football players, they have 68 on their varsity jackets, which would be the year of their graduation. But the film was set in October, right? Halloween, and then early November if we're going like after trick-or-treating, meaning they would have already graduated that spring. I don't know, just like a little factual thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then this little miscellaneous thing. So when Ruth reads the big toe, right? The toe, God, that toe made me sick. To Ramon and Augie. The start of the first paragraph reads, a mother was digging at the edge of the garden. The start of the second paragraph reads, the boy took the toe into the kitchen and showed it to his mother. So just a couple little, it's not like, oh my God, Felicia, you've changed my life, but couple little things. The guy, the jangly man,
Yeah.
right? He was played by a contortionist, Troy James, who appeared on America's Got Talent.
Okay, I wondered. I was like, is that motherfucker I saw on America's Got Talent?
Really? You
Yes.
remembered him? You're
Yes.
amazing, Tawny. I swear to God, you should work for the government. Like, I don't know. You see everything. You are literally like Jason Bourne. You see and remember everything. You would.
I mean,
It is
kind of.
literally Tawny Bourne. That's it.
I do kind of though. Like, just to be fair to myself, one of my superpowers is I know where everything is in our house. Like, it's this weird thing where I like see something and I catalog it in my brain. Like I don't remember forever, but I remember for like a little bit. And so like anytime somebody's like looking for something in a space that I'm in consistently, I can be like, "Oh, it's here." You know, just cuz like
Yeah.
my eyeballs like see stuff and I just like catalog it subconsciously, and so I like know where things are. And I feel like the same is for like TV and movies, especially. It has to be something I'm interested in.
But
I digress.
enjoyable. I love it. No, I love it. You were spot on. It is the guy from America's Got Talent. Something really cool about it is obviously his face was CGI enhanced, but all of his movements that he performed, walking backwards, crawling upside down, he did that himself.
Yeah, he
It
is.
was just his face that was CGI.
Replaced.
Yeah.
Oh, he's so good at that shit.
That's crazy. I don't even know who that guy is. I haven't seen all of it, but knowing that that was actual. And I can see it because when you're watching it, there's something about it that makes you want to think this isn't real, but the way that he moves out of the position he's in is so
Yes,
natural that you're like, holy shit. Yeah.
absolutely. There's something, it's a realistic quality of the movement, right? That's
Yeah.
happening.
Yes, yes.
That's exactly why I was like, oh, I think this is that person I saw on America's Got Talent. Totally.
That's awesome. The only other like thing I really have, which is not like a crazy cool thing, is that of all the characters, Ruth is the only name that actually corresponds to a story. However, in Harold, Tommy is a name, but his name is Thomas in the movie. But other than that, um, there's the other characters like the toe. There is an Augie or an August. So,
Okay.
or Chuck. And but see, that's the thing. My mind just totally popped over. I think you're absolutely right. Like that one woman in the insane asylum, the smiling woman that absorbed Chuck, when it went up from like her feet and that dress and you're watching and then her face, God, it was so creepy. But then all she was she walked towards him and absorbed him, and that was that.
Yeah.
And then it was done.
But that was, I liked that scene. It was incredibly anxiety inducing in the way that like they built the tension very well.
Oh yeah.
Like every time he turned around to a new, you know,
She was there.
and closer. Like
Yeah.
she did not move fast, but every time he tried to like switch around, she was closer. That was scary. And I
Yeah,
remember,
no, not that that wasn't good, but then she absorbed him and was done.
yeah,
Like,
it's
I
over.
feel like there could even have been, well, there couldn't have been more of him running around, but I just feel like maybe that character, there was so much more. Who is that character? Like, why is she doing that? Why is she absorbing him? Like, what is her story?
Yeah.
There's like so much more there. And I think that's what was lacking, like you were saying.
Absolutely. Yeah, exactly. It's like we're following the kids who get attacked by these monsters, but we never really get like the story of the monster itself. Yeah.
Yeah, and the monster is so intriguing. I have a question because I mentioned this to the kids. I thought the jangly man, or jangly, whatever, the guy, the contortionist guy, when his head came down the fireplace and was like, "Rah," it reminded me of the book where there's the profile of the man. And I think he has a pipe, maybe not. But that book, was that who it was? Okay, I'm going to show
No.
you a picture. No? Okay. Okay.
I don't think so. Find whatever you're looking for, but I'll
Okay.
show in the meantime because I think it's worth like looking, and I will keep this short for the people who are listening. But for our YouTube, I pulled out the books for our YouTube people. So we've got Harold, right? Spot on.
That is spot on. Oh my gosh, yes, that's so great.
Spot on. If nothing else, this movie did a fan fucking tastic job of taking these monsters and putting them exactly into film as like it is in the book. Here's the dream.
Oh, yes, yes.
So
Oh
fucking
God, she's
perfect.
so great. Yes.
So scary. It looks exactly
Exactly.
how they did it in the movie. Okay, and then last one. And actually I was surprised like all three of these are in the third book. Here's the red spot. I mean, this one's a little bit different, obviously, right? Because
Yeah, so
it's,
that's the spider
yeah,
one.
that's the
Yeah, I
one
mean,
coming
it
out of the
doesn't look
cheek.
like the girl, but for sure that's the spot. So this
Yeah.
guy,
Oh, okay. That's the cover. Yeah.
the cover of the book, that
Yeah.
reminded me of that head that came down. Was that not him? Yeah,
No.
that's the one. Oh,
I'll
I
find him.
thought that was the guy. Okay.
Because here he is in the first one. Sorry, everybody listening. Um, and you could see me tie Dodie Walker,
Oh,
and it's just a
yeah.
head. But also, I think they pulled from a different story, and I meant
Yeah,
to
because
earmark
that
it.
guy, the jangly man guy, didn't have a beard like that. So
Yeah, and I meant to mark this other story, but there's another story in the book that some guy just starts dancing. Like, it's like the bones of Aaron Kelly, I think, and I should have marked it, but I didn't. But it's like his bones just get up and start dancing. And that
yeah,
felt
I
more
remember
to me
that.
like the Jangly Man than like the Me Tie Jody Walker one did.
Yeah, so maybe they merged. Yeah, because they did
Stories.
do that. Yeah, because his body would come apart and then come back
Yes.
together. Yeah.
Yes. And they like specifically like tried to bury him again with his body parts separate so that he couldn't come back together. That was that story. And I can't remember what it's called and I can't find it. Here's the big toe.
The big toe.
They didn't show any of this kind of, but the
Not really, yeah.
illustrations are
But the
so
toe
good.
scene of him eating. Oh my
Oh,
God.
so gross.
I literally had a physical gag reflex when he took
I
that
don't
toe out of his mouth. God, that's disgusting.
I don't blame you. That's gross. But here is also The Bride, which I feel like they pulled this one for Sarah Bellows.
You know what? She
Or
also looks like the toe person.
no, yeah, I think that's right.
The
You're right.
toe
The toe
person,
person.
yeah. She's going through. She looked just like that.
God, these are worn. Like you can just see.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
just
you should.
popped that open.
I should have grabbed the ones I have because I had them when I was a kid and I gave them to my kids.
Oh, I'm
So
sure
they
they're
have them.
also worn.
Yeah, just really, really great. So obviously, scary stories, horror stories have been an obsession of ours since we were very young. And it was exciting to watch this movie. And I don't know if they could have succeeded, honestly. I was like, well,
True.
I think they could have, but there was just, I personally had such high expectations because of how much the story scared me, which isn't fair because I was also a kid. And I'm sure, like, I don't know though. When I think of the high beams or in the house, it's still both of my biggest fears. So
Terrifying.
yeah, I don't know, but though I think they did a really good job trying. What would you rate this movie?
Um, Before I rate it, can I talk shit about one more thing?
Oh my God, I'm sorry. Of course, please.
I just feel in my spirit like I need to talk shit about this.
Yes.
I fucking one of the things that I have the biggest problem with this on this movie, it was one of the things that I walked out of the theater and I was like, what the fuck was that? 90% of this movie is shot from a low angle on these kids. I don't know if you picked up on any of that, but like 90% of the time we're looking up people's noses and we cannot see both sides of their face. It's like you don't
Oh,
even
you're
know what
right.
both sides of their face look like until they're sitting in Ramon's car. And thank God they don't even have a different option to like other than to put the camera at eye level. And so I cannot help but have this is a very distracting thing for me throughout this entire movie because everything is shot from a low angle and it is so infuriating as a viewer. I'm just like, I just want to see what the fuck this person's face looks like. Like, I just want to know what they look like. If I actually passed by one of those actors on the street, I don't know that I would recognize them because I never got to see them in this movie.
I didn't pick up on that, but now that you mention it, I do. Why do you think they did that?
I
Is there like some type of a purpose?
The reason why you do that typically is because you're trying to show somebody being an imposing force, right? So you'll do it on
Oh.
like villains, right? Because you're like,
Oh,
oh, they're
yeah.
scary because they're like bigger than me. No, but like this entire movie is shot that way. I think I'd give this like a 3 out of 5.
Yeah.
Just straight up right in the middle. Like, is it worth a watch? Yes. If you are a young kid watching horror movies, like, this is a really fantastic introductory horror movie, I feel like. And like I said in the very beginning, like, there's like a generation of people who like will have watched this movie and be like, that scared the shit out of me because the visuals are so on point
Yeah.
with the
Yeah.
actual illustrations. And actually, I'd be remiss if I didn't say this. Um, if you didn't know, the illustrations from the original book, like I showed, at some point, like there was like a major situation. I don't know if you came across any of this in your research, Felicia, but like they tried to like ban these books because they're so fucking scary.
Oh, I didn't.
And then they had somebody else redraw the illustrations for these books. And it was the same person who did the illustrations for oh fuck, what's that series with the kids?
Goosebumps?
No, like the orphaned kids.
Oh, the Lemony Snickets?
Yes, Lemony Snicket. It was the same people who did the illustration for Lemony Snicket, whatever stories. I didn't read any of those. I'm sorry. I don't know what
I
the
only
name
saw
is.
the movies. I only saw the movies.
But they put those in the books instead for like a
Yeah.
handful of years. And then I think somebody overturned that and they pulled them back and started re-releasing, if I'm remembering correctly, with the original illustrations. But the original illustrations are what make these books fantastic. I used to look at these illustrations over and over again just to like desensitize myself to how scary it was. I'll show you one more, just a one of note that scared the shit out of me. This scared
Oh, such
the
a
living
good.
shit out of me. And I would look at it and I would open the book and look at
What's
it.
that one called for the people who aren't?
It's not even a story, dude. It's in the back part, the notes and sources section of Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark 3. So it's in the notes and sources portion, and oh god, it's just so scary. I remember I would open it and look at it and get scared, shut it, and take a couple deep breaths.
I love it. Oh my god, we would have been best friends.
Open it and look at it and get scared, shut it. Because he's looking into your soul.
Okay, so you said a 3?
Yes.
And I rated this movie a 3.5.
Okay.
So it was the same thing. I was looking at all the other ones. I went between a 3 and a 3.5 though. And it was hard because I would think of like that lady in the insane asylum. And I loved her look. I loved the idea of Sarah Bellows and the insane asylum and all that sort of thing. But then there was the miss for me. So it was a very hard one for me to score because I just wasn't sure. But I agree with you for like maybe a younger age that's going to watch this movie, and maybe this will be nostalgic for them when they're older versus us who grew up with the books and absolutely were terrified by the books. It kind of missed the mark.
Right.
But
totally.
appreciate the effort. Totally appreciate the effort.
Absolutely. And they really could have fucked it up. Like, I just think, like, that's the thing that I keep in mind is, like, they could have, like, ultra done some, like, dumbass shit, and I would have been pissed about it. But they didn't do that. They really tried. They tried to pull it together. There was, like, a major plot. You know, you got Guillermo del Toro on this shit. It's beautiful looking. They matched exactly the illustrations. I can't be mad about that. Oh, so scary.
I mean, literally, what I'm saying was bad is that I wanted more. I wanted more of those characters. Maybe 2 characters per movie. Maybe, I don't know. I don't make movies, so maybe that sounds absurd. But I wanted more because the characters themselves were really good. But then they were done. So, yeah.
And maybe they'll expand upon that, you know, doing I think they've set themselves up nicely for a sequel, so like
I'll watch it.
I would too.
And I don't say that often that I'll watch the sequel, just Jurassic Park, and I'll watch this sequel. And Guillermo, maybe we can have him on the show. He can talk to us about what he was thinking.
Casually. Guillermo del Toro, just the biggest fucking name in the biz.
Yeah. I can talk about all the other movies you're in that I love. Yeah, you know, big dreamer.
Have you seen Pan's Labyrinth?
Yes. Oh gosh, talk about terrifying. Okay, maybe we shouldn't even talk about that because maybe that's a horror movie,
put
right?
it on.
We should. Okay, never mind.
Let's scrub that.
Scrub that. You don't know if I like it. You don't know if I hate it.
We don't know. Totally
don't know.
Mystery. So our next movie, is going to be Sleepy Hollow.
Sleepy Hollow. Yes. We talked at the same time, so if you didn't hear. Sleepy Hollow. And before we end this episode, something we are really excited about, I want Tawny to tell you all about this thing. Tawny, take it away.
I will. Okay, so we have literally just launched our Patreon.
Yes.
And we are so excited to launch this because we have a handful of exclusive
Cold
perks.
chills. So excited.
I am too, because like one of the things that I started to talk to Felicia about is like I I mean Felicia too. Like one of our favorite conversations to have with people is like, what's your favorite horror movie and like what do you love? What do you not love? Whatever. And so we wanted to like open that up. So one of the perks in the Patreon is a live conversation once a month with us about horror movies. And I think there's like a thing that happens when you like have to communicate. And listen, we're going to keep open our Facebook community, our free Facebook group like always. That's always going to be
Yeah.
there and we're always going
We
to be
check
in
it
there.
daily. We love it. We love, love, love interacting with people.
For sure. Like we're going to be
Yeah.
in there talking to people, but it's a little bit convoluted. Like I don't know if you feel the same way about Facebook, but it's like you kind of have to log in and find your group and like I don't know.
And the stuff is not like, maybe we're just like old, but I'm way older than you, so maybe I'm really old. But like when you log in, it's not the most recent. You have to search.
Yeah.
Sometimes, if depending on how many conversations are going on, you don't even see a conversation. I know when I log in and I'm on our page or on our Facebook group, so on our main page or our Facebook group, there's so much going around the borders of Facebook and all of this stuff that I miss. I feel like I miss a lot. So I'm really excited about this.
Me too. Yeah, totally, Felicia. And I'm sure we're old. I'm sure that's what's happened. But yeah, so we're moving our well, I shouldn't say we're moving. We're starting our Patreon uh horror community on Discord. So it's like super simple to get logged in. If you head over to our Patreon, you can get set up on that on one of our tiers and you can get introduced to the Discord right away. So you can download this on your phone and on your computer. It's super easy. So let's fucking get in there and have some fucking horror movie
Yes.
conversations. I'm so excited.
It's so excited. So Discord is like we're all in the same room talking. We just can't see each other.
Yeah.
But we're all in the same room talking. We can't see each other. And for just like Tawny said, everybody who's in our free private Facebook group, we're still going to be in there every day. We love you guys. This is just a different. It's just a different experience. And what we started with right before this is that once a month Zoom call. That's also in one of the tiers. Like I have to give mad crazy props. I will legit kill anybody who tries to take Tawny away from me. She is my business partner. She is phenomenal. Well, I mean, if anybody you know goes missing, it wasn't me. And she came up with, like, she put so much love into this Patreon. It's not just a Patreon. It is really, really giving to our horror community. And it is phenomenal. And I am so excited to be a part of it. And thank you, by the way, for putting so much into it. I'm really excited.
Thank you. That touches my little heart. My little dark heart.
I love it.
I'm so excited. So check that out,
I
you guys.
literally read our Patreon to my husband. I was like, I went outside, he was having his whiskey and his cigar, and I went out there and I was like, oh my gosh, can I read you all of the tiers that Tawny came up with? This is so phenomenal. I am so excited to do this. And I read it to him and he was like, wow, that is awesome.
Did he like it?
Yeah,
Okay,
he
good.
loved it. He loved it.
Good. I'm so excited.
That's awesome. Okay, so that is brand new, fresh, brand spanking new baby released. So check it out. I mean, you could even check it out. You don't have to do anything with it, but read through it if you want to. Just go ahead and check it out. We'll have links inside of our bio. So you can go to our bio or if you're watching this on YouTube, we'll have it in the
Show notes.
In the notes, yeah.
Description.
Yep. And if you're listening to it on a podcast, we'll have it in the show notes. Check it out. It's really, really fun. I cannot wait. You can also follow us on Instagram, on Facebook. You can join our private Facebook group. You can find us on Twitter as well. You can also because I am insane in the membrane. You can find us on Pinterest. If you're a pinner, you want to pin it, we are on Pinterest. And also...
And LinkedIn.
Oh shit, yeah, that was just recent. We also have a company page on LinkedIn. Dude, we are for the everybody. We know there are closet horror lovers. We know it. There's people that love horror and don't feel like they can talk about it because they're going to look weird. And people that love true crime and gore but feel like, ooh, people are going to think I'm a serial killer. We get it. We're your people. And you can find us on the professionals on LinkedIn, on Twitter, on Instagram, and guess what, guys? TikTok. Yes.
Yep.
Dude, if you want to find us, you can find us. On every single platform, we are two chicks in a horror flick, except for one. If you are a tweeter, we are two chicks HF, because our name was too damn long. So we went back and forth. So it's two chicks HF on Twitter. But anywhere else, it's two chicks in a horror flick. And we absolutely love you. This is our passion and our joy. And we just talk all the time about how much fun we have doing this. So thank you so much for supporting us and listening to us. And we just love you.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And our next movie, in case we didn't say it,
because I don't remember if we said it because we went all off. I think we did, but just in case.
Sleepy Hollow.
I think
we did that twice.
Yeah, I think we did say it, and we talked over each other, and now we're doing it again.
I think you're right. Yeah. So we're watching Sleepy Hollow. You got it. You know. It's next.
Sleepy Hollow. So please join us for that.
Join us. Also, let me just also say, if you like this podcast, please share it with a friend. Review, subscribe, do all those podcasty things. I don't know. I haven't practiced this.
There's so many things that I bet my 6-year-old knows if I called her in here. But if it's on a podcast platform and you feel so inclined to subscribe, that's awesome. To leave a review, we truly appreciate your feedback. We do look at feedback and take what you're giving us and see what we can do to be better and what we can keep doing to be phenomenal. On YouTube, there's a whole shit ton of shit you do on YouTube. My kid knows about this. There's a bell. If you want to know when we post a video, you click the little bell. There's a subscribe. But I don't know what it does different than the bell. But there's the subscribe button. We would love it. You can also comment. You can't review. Like, dude.
Who knows? Whatever thing
thank goodness. All the other things you just literally follow.
Yes.
So, there you go.
So do all of that if you like us, and we so appreciate you listeing. We're so excited to keep doing this. We're so stoked for Flick or Treat. Just hang in with us and watch some autumnal shit. Send us some recommendations, and I hope you have such a good night and have no nightmares.